that I have things in my background that I've talked about that are legitimate for people to discuss. They're behind me, and I've been trying to talk about ideas for the middle class and those struggling to make it, and people who have been on the campaign trail have watched how people have responded to that. This is not just about me. This is about this city and about the aspirations of people to make things better.
But his character, what do you
That's for citizens to decide. That's for everyone has to decide. Look, I know there are people who may well never conceive of voting for me because of the things that are in my past. I get that.
All right. Welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's the Thursday edition. And again, a local mayor's race in New York City, as local as New York City could be, I guess, dominating the headlines around the country and maybe around the world to a certain extent, as Anthony Weiner, another day, more revelations. We are finding out about the woman that he was, communicating with, shall we say, Sydney Leathers. No truth that she's related to Laura Lace, as far as I know. Anyway, Sydney Leathers, we got pictures. There are now naked pictures of Anthony Weiner all over the internet, and they say more women are going to come forward. It is mind-boggling that this could continue without him going back under his rock. Joining us now to talk about this, and I want to let you know, folks, that although he is former White House counsel to Bill Clinton, and he is the author of a great book and a very relevant book to this matter, Crisis Tales: 5 Rules for Coping with Crisis in Business, Politics, and Life. I got a feeling this is a personalized story for Lanny Davis. Hey, Lanny, how are you, sir?
Thank you for that introduction, but it's not personal about something that I did, but it's...
well, that's what I mean. I didn't mean that, obviously.
No, I know. Look, just full disclosure, I have known Huma Abedin when she worked for the First Lady 15 years ago when I served in the White House. I know her. She's almost, to me, like a daughter. And I am preoccupied with her pain and how she's managing herself on this. So I'm really not going to be doing much crisis management advice to the congressman who I don't know that well. I'm happy to tell you what I think of Huma.
All right. Well, let's talk about her for a second. Here's what I don't understand, Lanny. Several months ago, we played a soundbite of Anthony Weiner talking to a guy on RNN, Dominic Carter, and it was a TV interview, and he said, and I just happened to find it, it was fairly obscure, nobody else picked up on it, and he said, he was asked, are there more women out there? Are more of these things going to surface? This is before he ever said he's running for anything. And he said, well, I can't say that there aren't. There might be, blah, 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 blah. So I played that, and I asked over and over and over again, and then again when the New York Times Magazine section thing came out, I said, wait a minute. All this guy's talking about, and all he's talking about in the magazine article, is how he hurt his wife. He's apologized to his wife, his poor wife, his wife. Yet he says there might be more things out there. Well, then how could he ever run for public office? And I said the same thing when he announced, saying, wait a minute, he has warned us there's going to be more coming out. Why would he do this to his wife? And I'll ask you that question, and maybe a little in reverse. Why did his wife allow it to get to this point?
Well, my answer to both questions is the same, which is I'm not going to guess what's in somebody's mind. I'm only going to tell you what I know. A lot of other people are speculating about motives and sincerity and aspirations and ambitions. I don't do that. Don't do it on this occasion. Don't do it in political debate. So I stick to facts that I know, and I know Huma, and I know the pain that she's going through. I can see the pain that Anthony Weiner is going through. And my view here is that these are two people who are struggling to save a marriage, to save a family. She cares very much about both of those, and I take her and watched her in a very powerful way say she loves her husband, she forgives her husband, and that's good enough for her. Now, other people might not find that good enough for them. They are entitled, and it's ultimately a judgment of every voter in New York City who's voting for mayor, whether it's good enough for them.
But don't you think that she's smart enough to know, first of all, her I love him, I respect him, is almost verbatim from the Hillary Clinton couch interview with 60 Minutes back in '92. You can't really, I'm the Tammy Wynette interview, as it's been come to be known. You can't really blame people for being skeptical when she's so close to Hillary and follows the pattern of Hillary and almost the exact words of Hillary. You can't blame the people who are saying that this is politically motivated, as many believe Hillary sticking with Bill has been all these years. But again, I'll say, now we're going to have more women come out. Now we have naked pictures of them all over the internet. I don't understand. She had to know this 2 days ago. It just doesn't make sense. If he winds up dropping out, she looks foolish. She looks foolish now because more things have come out. It's been revealed that he was sexting as recently as 3 months ago. I don't get the whole thing. People are asking, and I think who don't know Huma, what kind of woman would want their son raised by this man? He's obviously sick in the head.
Well, first of all, you're entitled to every single opinion you just expressed, and every reaction you just expressed is entirely legitimate from your perspective. I would respectfully suggest to you I have a different perspective.
Yeah, well, give it to me. I'd love to hear it.
My perspective is when it comes to love relationships and what a woman or a man decides to do to save a marriage and to try to get through this kind of trauma is not for me to judge, because nobody can understand love or a relationship or what happens inside a marriage. And for the same reasons, I do not speculate that people have motives other than sincere. If there's a fact that leads me to show insincerity, then I want to know what the fact is. If it's speculation, connecting dots because other people said the same thing in a similar circumstance, you're entitled to speculate, and so is everyone else. That is not what I do. I happen to know Huma very well. I happen to strongly believe, based on my direct knowledge, that this is an authentic, sincere, heartfelt statement by her with no motivations, no copycat thoughts other than she is speaking from the heart. That is my opinion.
All right, we're talking to Lanny Davis, who is a very close friend, maybe a mentor of sorts to Huma Abedin, the wife of Anthony Weiner. All right, let me ask you what you believe here. Do you believe, as Gerald Nadler has said, that I think he should pull out of the race? I think he needs serious psychiatric help. Do you believe that Anthony Weiner is a sick man?
Well, first of all, I think it's a little bit exaggerated to call me a mentor, but I do consider myself a friend, and I think of her like a daughter.
Okay.
That's the way I put it. But I'm not quarreling that she may, think of me as a mentor to compliment if she does. Jerry Nadler is a great man. He does something that I wouldn't do, never have done, but that's because we're different. Doesn't make him wrong. I never tell somebody to drop out of a race. I let the voters decide that. I remember Hillary Clinton being criticized for not dropping out of the race after she won 17 straight primaries or whatever the number was in every major state of the country. Why doesn't she drop out? Why doesn't she drop out? Why doesn't she drop out? I said the same thing then that I would say to Mr. Weiner today. That's your decision. The voters will ultimately render the verdict. If you lose miserably because you didn't drop out, you've made that decision. I'm not going to tell them what to do.
But doesn't it hurt Huma? I mean, and there's a story today that Huma considered leaving Weiner last fall. She admitted to all the therapy. What I don't understand is, we got more and more revelations coming out every day. How does she?
You're not going to get a different answer than the last time you asked me the same question, which was 2 minutes ago. I'm not going to second guess what somebody is doing out of their heartfelt desire based upon her feelings of love inside a marriage, to hold the marriage together despite this trauma and concern about her son. I don't second guess that type of a decision. It may not be one that I either understand or would do myself, but I don't second guess it. I accept it, and I don't expect you or anyone else to feel the way I do, but that's me.
Are you surprised that the latest poll out today shows that he has dropped significantly from the previous poll numbers? He's now behind Christine Quinn by about 5-6 points?
Well, if it's only 5 or 6 points, it's nothing short of incredible. If it were down to 0, it wouldn't surprise me, given the couple of bad days of publicity he's had. If you noticed the headlines recently, I'll tell you one thing, if I'm allowed to go beyond my internal ban on saying anything other than my concern about Huma. And
wait, that's a self-imposed ban. Go ahead.
It is. Thank you. I'll give you one little political comment that is a generic one. There is a historic pattern that the American people actually react against piling on by the media and by other politicians when someone's going through this kind of personal tragedy. I'm not saying it will happen here, and I'm not saying it's the general rule, but there certainly is a pattern where it happens. And it isn't just possible that this misery that he's brought on himself, no doubt, that Anthony Weiner is going through, that at some point people will turn and say, now what kind of job is he really going to do as mayor? I'm going to forgive him. I don't know if that's going to happen. I know in history it has happened.
Would you like to see it happen?
I'm not a New Yorker. I only care about Huma. I worry about the effect on her.
All right, well, for her sake, do you think, and knowing her as you do you think it's better that he wins or that he drops out? Well, for her.
I think from her sake it's better that he wins and that people respect her love for him and her request that people forgive him. So, of course, I'm hoping that it turns out well for Huma.
All right.
If not, I'll be there for her one way or the other.
Lanny, thank you very much for sharing these personal thoughts with us. I really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. That's Lanny Davis, ladies and gentlemen. I always want to say Lanny McDonald, the former NHL star. I don't know why, because I don't know any other Lannys. Lanny Davis, former chief counsel to Bill Clinton, of course, very close.